Good evening, everybody. Welcome, and thank you for joining us for this evening's webinar. And apologies for the short notice of the change of platform, but we didn't expect the turnout that we've got, and we are so thankful for you to join us tonight. And we really hope that tonight's session is going to enrich you and help you go away with something that's going to help you to help your children. Tonight is all about the trenches of reading development and how to improve your child's reading. So welcome, and this is the first installment in our 7-part webinar series entitled The House of Reading. My name is Chris de Beer, and I'll be your host throughout the series. And I really look forward to engaging with the various presenters and experts who will be bringing along a wealth of knowledge and information that we believe you will derive much benefit from. They will offer practical solutions to help you, help your children, and ultimately help improve their overall reading and comprehension abilities. But before we kick off tonight's proceedings, just a few general announcements. Each session is being recorded and will be made available to you as required. There will be 6 more installments brought to you on the first Thursday of each month between March throughout August, same time, same place as displayed on the screen currently. You will also receive invitations to these a week or so before the time, but feel free to note the dates and times in advance as currently displayed. You can also visit our website at www.qualibooks.co.za and click on the 2022 webinars link for more information. Each session will be between 20 to 30 minutes long at most. Time is valuable, so we don't want to take up too much of it as far as that's concerned. And due to these time constraints, we will not be having a question and answer session as such. However, feel free to drop the panelists any related questions that you may have. Their contact details will be displayed and included in the chat box for your ease of reference, or simply leave a message in the chat box with your email address, the question, and to whom it may be directed. During each session, there will be takeaways in some form or shape. These will be on offer to you as webinar participants, and the details of this will be made available at the end of each session. So be sure to stay with us for the duration of this session. Qualibooks.online is powered by Qualibooks, and we will be your host throughout this series. Qualibooks is celebrating its 30th birthday in 2022. And it is your leading library resource service provider in the traditional hard copy resource environment, but recently expanding into the digital realm by way of the revolutionary new digital reading platform for children, namely Qualibooks.online. But more about this a little bit later. This session tonight cannot be undertaken alone. It is a joint undertaking and in association with EduBlocks, who are the leaders in specialized reading and math services. I take the time to introduce to you Monique van Heerden. She is our resident specialist on tonight's presenter, and she will be with me throughout the series. She carries with her a wealth of knowledge in this field. She's a trained teacher with a number of specializations, and she is the owner and manages 2 EduBlocks franchises, one of them being in Northcliffe, Johannesburg, the other one in Helderkraan in the West Rand. But first and foremost, she's a parent with keen insights. So without further ado, a warm welcome to Monique. Monique, over to you.
Thank you so much, Chris. I saw in the chat that there's a number of attendees that can't hear. I hope that that has been sorted. If you are using a cell phone or a device, maybe you need to use earphones. If you are using earphones, please unplug that. I hope you guys are able to sort out your auditory issues on that side. So good day and welcome to this first webinar in our series. Like Chris said, we are going to build a house of reading. Thank you, Chris, for the introduction. Yes, my name is Monique. I'm a teacher. I know teachers like to call themselves miracle workers, but no, we are just education specialists. I work in the area of dyslexia in my role as the EduBlocks franchisee here in Johannesburg. And I want to thank you guys for spending the next 20 minutes or so with us when we start the construction on building this house of reading. And the first phase is digging the trenches. So when constructing this building, and especially if that building is going to carry the weight of more than one story, it's vital that we're going to give extra attention, guys, to the digging of these trenches. We don't want a structure like the Leaning Tower of Pisa a few years down the line. So in using this analogy of the building of a sturdy house for reading and later for the learning, the trenches in this case refers to sound language acquisition, a strong vocabulary. Let's be honest, guys, some of us, myself included, we can sing the national anthem beautifully, but very few of us actually know what we're singing. So there's little doubt that language acquisition is one of the key milestones in early childhood development. Your child will learn a language from birth, and babies round about between 9 and 12 months of age start saying their first words. From about 2 years, this child should be able to use simple phrases. Now, I'm Afrikaans speaking. My child's first phrase was, "Mama, ek jy speel." By around about 3, the children are able to use full sentences. Round about 4, your child must be able to start talking in full sentences, even though there might still be grammatical errors. By the time he's 5, he should have acquired the basic language skill. Now, unfortunately, for many parents, this term of language development implies that the child's acquisition of language will be an automatic process, and it's not the case, because there's nothing that a child can do that that child has not been taught and learned to do. And this is especially true for language. Research has revealed that there's a dramatic link between the development of spoken language and written language. And there's also a very important link between language acquisition and reading skills. So the question tonight is, how is language acquired? Ladies and gentlemen, there's no better app than a parent's lap. So just like parents ensure that their child follow a healthy and a balanced diet, that they have optimal physical development, as parents, we need to take the steps to ensure that our children also develop optimal language skills. Babies learn a language in only one way, and that's by hearing it. Hearing the sound, the rhythm of the spoken word to start off with. Research has actually shown that a child who hears the same word, the same phrases, the same structure over and over, sooner learns a language than that child that's not exposed to the verbal language as much. This fact is stated as on our slide here, where research has shown that a child who's just beginning to talk must hear a word about 500 times before it becomes part of his active vocabulary. Now, some mothers are by nature quiet and reserved. And then there's some that have the unfortunate idea that it's foolish to talk to their babies. Ladies and gentlemen, the mother who doesn't talk to her baby continually while feeding, while bathing, while dressing her baby, that mom is laying the foundation for a late talker. As already mentioned, by the time the baby is around about 9 months old, he'll be able to understand simple words and simple commands. And he may also perhaps be able to say a few simple words already. We all hope that these first few words is mama or papa. Unfortunately, sometimes the first word is no. Inevitably, one will find that baby understands much more than he's able to say. And that fact remains for the rest of our life. one is always able to understand more of a language, even your mother tongue, than what you are able to use in active speech. And this is also true for a second language. Those of you who speak a second language, you'll understand where I'm coming from. You've got this very clear idea in your head of what you want to say, but by the time you put it in actual words, it feels like airtime that has just run out. So we said that we need to talk to our children, right? But there's also another way in which we can talk to our children to ensure that their language develop, and that is through reading. Many parents of young children will tell you that children just love watching stories over and over and over. And let's be honest, there's some stories that we also love watching over and over. There's actually a method behind this madness, and it reveals the secret to developing better language skills. The secret is that optimal language development happens through repetition. I would like to share the results of an experiment with you done by the EduBlocks program director and her son. She actually put this theory to the test. Those of you who are more or less my age, you will remember the good old days where there wasn't really an abundance of storybooks like there are today. And that meant that parents were compelled to tell the same story to their children over and over again if they knew more than 2 or 3 stories. They also had to read to their children from the books in their possession over and over and over. I still remember how my parents taught us nursery rhymes and songs. So our program director, Susan, she took this tradition to the extreme. And she exposed his son, Gustav, to only one book for nearly 2 years, the story of Pinocchio. So this book was aimed at 4-year-olds. And except for talking to him continually, she started to read to him from this book when he was only 2 or 3 months old. She read it to him as often as she could, over and over and over. Quite tedious work for mom, I can promise you. But Gustav loved it. And the results of this experiment made her efforts worth the while, because not only did he start talking much sooner than children of his own age, but he was just over 2 years. And he could recite nearly all the pages from the book Pinocchio. When you turn the page, you just had to read the first word or two, and he would recite the rest of the page like a parrot. Now, in itself, this seems quite useless. But the great importance was that the vocabulary in this book soon became part of his everyday speech. In terms of language development, he was soon miles ahead of his age group. And this brings us to that tradition of teaching children nursery rhymes. Because the research has shown that the knowledge of nursery rhymes, especially among 3-year-olds, was a significant predictor of later pre-reading skills. Susan coined the phrase. She says, while an apple a day keeps the doctor away, talking forever makes your child clever. Learning a second language is a very good thing. It improves brain power. Studying the brains of 105 people, 80 of whom were bilingual, the researchers of the University College London found that learning a new language alters grey matter in the same way that exercise will build muscles. The only way to become proficient in that language is to get enough opportunities to hear that language. I jokingly explain learning how to swear in this way. You know how you hear those words enough times in enough situations for the context to become clear, for the inflections and the intonations to start making sense. And before you know it, wham, bam, it's part of your vocabulary. If only our children could learn new vocabulary in the same way they learn to swear, we would solve a lot of problems. So ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about practical ways of improving your child's language skills, because that's why you joined us tonight. We understand how important it is, first of all, to talk to our children. Play games with your children that kind of force you as parent to use bigger and better words. Don't dumb down your language just because you think your child won't understand. Lead by example. I am astounded by the number of parents who want to improve their children's reading skills, and yet they themselves don't even read the school's newsletter. Get off your cell phone, get off your computer. Show your child actually how to use a book. Visit a library, visit a bookshop. Your child must hear the language that's being used. Read stories, or in this day and age where we don't have time, make a recording in the language you want to improve. Audiobooks is a wonderful tool to use. It's not necessary for the children to sit still and listen to this story, to listen to this recording. Rather, let them continue with their daily activities against this background of the recording or the audiobook. Just make sure that the volume is set so that the words are clearly audible. Mustn't be too loud so that it's disturbing. You know how we turn down the volume to see better. The recording could, for example, play while they're getting ready for school in the mornings, while they're being transported to and from school. And then the easiest way, and the way that children would most probably enjoy the most, is to watch a movie. We live in a day and age where we can use the settings and see subtitles. Get reading. The message is, make an effort. It's the trenches of a sturdy house that you're planning on building. The next secret, however, is to develop not only good reading skills, but your child also needs good, strong cognitive skills. So improving a child's cognitive skills, such as the auditory and the visual processing. Somebody asked a question earlier about auditory dyslexia. It links back to auditory and visual processing. The skill of memory, the skill of concentration, all those skills will greatly accelerate the process of learning. And these are only a few of the skills developed through the EduBlocks program, and it will be presented as topics in the upcoming webinars that will follow. The main objective at EduBlocks is to develop and practice skills that underlie reading, spelling, and learning. So simply put, EduBlocks is the system of cognitive exercises aimed at building a solid foundation for learning. At EduBlocks, there is more than 35 years of experience in the area of cognitive training in reading development. They've got more than 40 franchises nationwide, and they are the only program of its kind that can boast with a 96% confident referral rate. From there, their logo, successful kids, proud families. I'm sharing my contact details with you. If you've got any questions that we don't get to tonight to answer, you are also more than welcome to contact the EduBlocks franchisee closest to you. Their contact details will be on the website at edublocks.co.za. So, ladies and gentlemen, now that we understand how important it is to talk to your child and to read to your child, I want to hand over to Chris de Beer from Keybooks. Chris, before you start sharing information on Keybooks, on this absolute wonderful resource that parents can use to dig the trenches, And before you share that free takeaway for the webinar tonight, you are welcome to post a few questions to me if you feel that there's something that I can address.
Monique, thank you very much. Folks, I trust you've enjoyed what Monique has shared, and that in turn you will take some nuggets of information that you will find of benefit that you can apply in your particular environment. And remember, this is just the first of 7 inserts in our webinar series, so there is so much more to come. And I hope you have benefited from this. And I've had a look at the chat box to see there's a lot of interest and a lot of questions. We'll definitely be getting back to you after this, and it's very exciting. If I can ask you now, just if you are online or whatever else, if you can go to your onto Google and type in kibooks.online on your URL. You don't have to, but you're more than welcome to. It ties in very much with what Monique has been saying, and what we are looking at here is an environment or a platform, an opportunity to exercise that ability to read, to enable your children to have access to information or to reading resources at their leisure for them to enjoy and help stimulate that need to read, and using the skill sets that are being shared, that Monique has shared, and that will be shared down the line to help practice and put it into practice as such. If I had time, I'd keep you here for another 40 minutes, but sadly, time is against us, so I'm going to be as brief as possible. As I said, you simply go onto the website kibooks.online. You can click on the demo login button and navigate from there. It offers you a true experience of the full site for you to explore at your leisure, and you're welcome to log in right now. Please feel free to share this with your peers and your children. It is available to everyone in South Africa. The vision with this platform, with kibooks.online, was to create a digital reading platform, which is different to what is currently out there. And the mission simply to help develop a reading culture amongst our children by providing them with a content-rich, visually pleasing and easy to navigate platform that they can enjoy wherever, whenever, as you can see on your screen right now. We want them to explore the world of books at their leisure and return the fun factor into their lives. Most of the time, everything that children are doing is linked to the curriculum. It's study, 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 work, 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 with no emphasis on enjoyment. And what we've created as a platform is hosting thousands of strictly library-oriented fiction and non-fiction material for them to enjoy and explore in the comfort of their own home, at a friend's place, at the local library, a Wi-Fi free spot, or even better, when you are away on holiday. The platform caters to all 11 South African languages, and importantly, it is data-free. We see kibooks.online as an ideal tool to help develop a healthy habit amongst our children. That is the habit of reading. You can even track the progress of the readers via the live data tracking function built into the system, which displays what is being read, how many readers have logged in, the time spent reading, and when books are actually being read. Kibooks is not a library as such. We have to almost debunk the idea of these online libraries. There is no virtual lending policy or single user license policy applicable. This is an unrestricted platform where kids can read as many books as they want per day. They can read a book repeatedly. They can read a book as many times as they like, as Monique mentioned about Pinocchio, without any limitation. And they can all hop onto their separate devices and actually read the same book at the same time from wherever they may be, completely unrestricted. It's simply a subscription-based platform, and once subscribed, the world is their oyster. All you need is internet access and a compatible device, be it mobile, tablet, or laptop. For the best reading experience, we do encourage the users that are going onto the platform to download the app from the Google Play Store for Android or the App Store for iPhones. It just makes for a much better reading experience. And now that was my plug for the evening, and it won't happen again, but it's important that you understand the blend and the harmony between what EduBlocks is presenting in terms of the scope of expertise and platforms such as Kibooks.online, which helps you to stimulate that need for reading so that you can go away and get your kids to actively participate. And obviously, you've listened to an earful of what I've had to say, so it's only fair that I share tonight's takeaway, as I mentioned at the beginning, for all of you that are in attendance currently. We are making available a free Kibooks.online subscription to everyone that is currently online, and it's valid until the 2nd of March, and it's for you to enjoy and to enable your children to explore, read, and have fun with. We urge you to get them onto the platform to develop a love for reading and have fun with them. So get into the world of Kibooks. Get cracking, and let's make the most of it. You simply log on to Kibooks.online. The login details are currently on display and will be for a short while. So jot it down, take a screenshot, but we have also popped it into the chat box for you to have a look at. It's very simple. And as I said, folks, you can, as we speak now, when you go away from it, you can actually explore the site and have full access to the site. More than 3,500 titles currently available, and available in all 11 languages. So I urge you to explore it and have fun with it and let your kids get their reading on. It's free and it's available, exclusive and unrestricted access for you until the 2nd of March, because our next webinar is on the 3rd of March. So we encourage you to join us, and you will see what we give you from there. So feel free to drop us any related inquiries using the inquiry function that you see on the screen displayed there on the login screen. There's also a video tutorial, so click on that. The how does it work function, it gives you a tutorial on how to access the site from beginning to end. But after exploring it for a couple of minutes, I'm sure you'll be adept to see how user-friendly it really is, because we built it with the child in mind. That really is it, folks. That's a wrap from us for tonight's session. Thank you for joining us, and be sure to join us for the next installment, which will be Seeing is Believing, with a focus on the eyes. Pardon the pun. And that will be hosted on the 3rd of March at 6:30 p.m. Same platform. But as I said in the beginning, you will be receiving email notifications well in advance. So please, I encourage you to join it. If you've enjoyed the session, have questions for us, please do contact us. You've got the details, and we look forward to seeing you again, and encourage your friends, family to join us for the next one. And until then, have a wonderful evening further, and good night.